going to affect us.
اوکی، بینندگان عزیز، من ایشون پرسیدم در مورد مسائل گرانی، مسائل تکسا، مسائل پول برق، پول انرژیایی که گاز یا بنزین و پولای غذایی که ما میدیم، به هر حال قیمت‌ها داره افزایش پیدا میکنه تو اونتاریو. به هر حال ایشون نماینده پارلمان هستن، پارلمان فدرال هستن. ایشون میگویند که به هر حال ما هم از این مشکلات در اونتاریو مطلع هستیم، ولی دولت فدرال به رهبری آقای هارپر دارن سعی میکنن که یه سری کمک‌های مالی رو داشته باشن که به استان بدن. میگویند که کمکی که سال گذشته بوده مثلا 9 میلیارد دلار، امسال این کمک رو به 19 میلیارد دلار رسوندن برای اینکه کمک به استان بدن، بتونن استان به وضعیت اقتصادیش خوب نیست، برای اینکه بتونن سرسامان بدن. این کمک رو دولت داره میکنه. ایشون معتقد هستن که دولت فدرال در زمینه کمکش به استان به عنوان نمونه برنامه‌های اقتصادی محکمی که داشته، به عنوان مثال سال گذشته مثلا حدود 700 خورده هزار شغل جدید، جاب جدید برای تولید کرده در کشور و معتقدن که بعد از این رکود اقتصادی که در آمریکا در اروپا اتفاق افتاده، دولت کانادا و اقتصاد کانادا در شرایط بهتری هست و میتونه که شرایط بهتری داشته باشه و به هر حال پیش بره. ایشون معتقدن که دولت فدرال آنچه که از دستش برخواهد آمد در زمینه کمک به اقتصاد اونتاریو انجام میدهند و امیدوار هستیم که کمک‌های دولت فدرال به دولت اونتاریو، دولت لیبرال اونتاریو هم یه مقداری بیشتر امکانات صرف بکنن، یه مقداری بیشتر کار بکنن تا شاید وضع اقتصادی برای از این چیزی که هست بهتر بشه. Mr. Costas, I have another question. I know you are in the parliament, the federal parliament. And as a member, can you please share with us more about this House of Commons Citizenship and Immigration committee in this and the official language committee in the parliament? I know you are a member of them. And yes. What is it exactly you can explain to all people?
Yes, every member of parliament sits on average on 2 parliamentary committees. The 2 committees that I sit on, as you correctly noted, is citizenship and immigration and official languages. On citizenship and immigration, as a committee, we study and evaluate our citizenship and immigration policies and laws to ensure that they are in line with the reality of what is happening on a daily basis in Canada, and to try to correct certain things that we see have happened. For example, due to a very poor decision by the Liberal government in 2002, we inherited over 850,000 people in a backlog of people that wanted to come into Canada. People that had made their application to come to Canada, they're sitting in a backlog and waiting. On average, over the last 5 years, we've averaged about 253,000 people, new Canadians, welcome to Canada every year, new people coming to Canada. It's when you have 253,000 coming in a year and you have a backlog which grew to about 1 million people, and so much interest from around the world, it was very important for us to study that backlog and see what kind of changes we can make to try to speed up the process for people so they're not waiting 8, 10, 12 years to get into the country. One of the things that we're studying right now, for example, is the issue of security. It's very important that we know the identity of people that come into Canada. We know a little bit about their background, and we know that it is safe. They're safe for us to allow them to walk the streets, live in our communities, work with our families, and participate in Canadian life. So we're studying security right now. It's that type of work that is done. I should note, very important, last year 43 million people visited Canada's immigration site. 43 million. 56% from outside of Canada, 44% from within Canada. That's over 117,000 hits on the website per hour, if you can imagine. Over 117,000 visits to Canada's citizenship and immigration website every hour. Okay? Wow. Now, on the official languages, in Canada we have 2 official languages, English and French. We want to ensure linguistic duality in both of those languages for all Canadians from coast to coast to coast. And I'm very happy to say, with the roadmap for linguistic duality that our Conservative government enacted in 2008, the roadmap goes to 2013. Over $1.2 billion was put into that program to ensure that people can avail themselves of services in both English and French everywhere across the country. And right now in that committee, we're at in the process of completing our study to see halfway through that 2008, 2013, where we are, so that we can make the proper recommendations to the minister and the ministry for the next phase of what we want to do in promoting Canada's both official languages in this nation.
خب ایشون اطلاعات رو میدن. من ازشون سوال کردم، میدونین معمولا نماینده‌های پارلمان در داخل پارلمان فدرال کانادا، پارلمان‌های محلی هم اینطور هست که اینها جابای مختلف انجام میدن، جزء دپارتمان‌های مختلف هستن و کاری غیر از مثلا نمایندگی تو اون کارا هم دخالت میکنن و برای عضو اونجا هستن برای که کمک کنن. ایشون یکی از کارهایی که دارن عضو اون دپارتمانی هستن که مربوط به سیتیزنشیپ و ایمیگریشن هست و ایشون اونجا کار میکنن. اطلاعاتی هم که میدادن در مورد این بود که به هر حال ما حدود 800,000 خورده نفر پشت خط داشتیم. ما داریم سعی میکنیم که بهترین قوانین امیگریشن رو برای فراهم بکنیم، تغییراتی رو به وجود بیاریم، مردم پشت خط نباشن، مردم تعداد زیادی اونجا نمونن و به هر حال بهترین روش رو پیدا بکنیم برای اینکه اون صف انتظار رو کوتاه کنیم که بیایند و بتونیم که به هر حال هر چه سریعتر بیان داخل کانادا. یه اطلاعات جالبی هم میدادن، میگفتن که 43 میلیون پیپل 43 میلیون نفر از وبسایت امیگریشن دولت کانادا بازدید کردن در سال گذشته و یکی از چیزایی که میگفتن مثلا در عرض یک ساعت 117,000 نفر وارد شدن به یک ساعت و یه سری بررسی کردن. ایشون معتقد هستن که این نشون میده که مشتاق هستن مردم برای اومدن به کانادا، علاقمند هستن. این آمار 43 میلیون نفر آمار خیلی بزرگیه، خیلی بزرگ. به هر حال امیدوار هستیم که ایشون میگن که کاری دیگه هم داریم میکنیم، سعی میکنیم برنامه‌های مختلف رو بذاریم، کسایی که میان داخل کانادا امکانات براشون فراهم کنیم. کشور دو زبانه هست، سعی میکنیم مردم به دو زبان بتونن به هر حال آشنایی داشته باشن. پروگرام‌ها و برنامه‌های مختلفی رو تو پارلمان انجام میدن برای اینکه بتونن به هر حال کمک بدن به مسائل ایمیگریشن. ایشون غیر از اینکه ممبر پارلمان هستن در اریای ریچموند هیل، در این قسمت هم کار میکنن. در حقیقت در کل مسائل ایمیگریشن دارن کمک میدن به قوانین ایمیگریشن که تغییرات مثبت رو به وجود بیارن. به هر حال یکی از وظایف ایشون در پارلمان هم همین هستش. اوکی. به حال اطلاعات خوبی رو میدن و کار میکنن. بگذارید حالا این بحثایی که راجع به مسائل داخلیشون، مسائل برای ممبر بودنشون و عضو پارلمان بودنشون بذاریم به سکشن دوم. We going to section 2. Okay. Is it a little harder question or like that? در مورد سکشن دو همونطور که توضیح دادم خدمتتون، بحث ما بحث سفارت هست. الان یکی دو روز هستش که این بحث داغ مطبوعات دنیاست. دولت کانادا سفارت ایران رو در اتاوا تعطیل کرد، سفارت خودش رو هم در ایران عملا تعطیل کرد، دیپلماتاشو خواست، دیپلماتای ایرانی رو از اینجا اخراج کرد و گفتش که به هر حال سفارت رو بست. غیر از این که حالا ما برنامه‌های بعدی رو هم داریم سعی می‌کنیم با کسای مختلفی، با وزیر امور خارجه کانادا داریم سعی می‌کنیم مکاتبه‌ای داریم که با ایشون هم بتونیم یه مصاحبه داشته باشیم، ولی ایشون به عنوان کسی که به هر حال نماینده پارلمان تو ریچموند هیل هستن، نماینده ایرانی‌ها هستن در پارلمان و ایشون اولین کسی بودن که لطف کردن، ما ازشون خواهش کردیم اومدن راجبش صحبت کنن. بذارین سوال رو از این بابت بکنیم، می‌خوایم بدونیم نظر ایشون به عنوان نماینده پارلمان کانادا در مورد در ریچموند هیل که معمولا اکثریت هم با ایرانی‌ها هست در این موارد چی هستش. من ازشون سوالی دارم what is your opinion as a member of parliament for Richmond Hill about the closing of the Iranian embassy in Ottawa?
Well, first of all, let me note this. I think it's important that we differentiate a couple of things. First of all, as a Canadian government, we see the Iranian people and the Iranian regime as two completely different things. I want to make that very, very clear right up front. It was a necessary act that needed to be taken. These decisions are not made lightly. They're made after a series of events have transpired. They're made after all diplomatic efforts have not produced the results that needed to be produced, and which forced our Minister Baird to make this decision. The closing of the embassy is not one thing that led to the closing of the embassy. There were actually, if I can state, 6 things that have raised concerns in the international community and certainly raised the concerns of our government. The action to close the embassy, we see it as an action to support the Iranian people. Because these things that I'm going to speak about are not supportive of the Iranian people if the Iranian regime continues to act the way that they have acted. So we feel the only way we can that we can act is to diplomatically put pressure on the regime so that they can see, hopefully, that it's better for the Iranian people if they were to change the way that they respond to some of the international requirements, if you will. Some of the things and the reasons that led to that: the Iranian regime's support of Assad in Syria. It's a very tenuous situation. Last month alone, 5,000 people lost their lives in Syria. We're watching that very, very carefully. A civil war is the worst kind of war, you know. It's a brother against brother, it's a sister against sister, it's father against son. It's unbelievable. So we don't want that to continue. Another clear concern of ours is the possible military dimension of Iran's nuclear program. There are United Nations resolutions that have not been abided by the regime, and it's led some concern to the international community as to the legitimacy of the intent of the buildup of the nuclear activity in Iran, the nuclear program in Iran. The anti-Semitic rhetoric against Israel and the people of Israel from the hierarchy, if you will, of the regime does not bode for safety and security in the region. That's a big concern of ours. Of course, and many Iranian Canadians have told me this, the human rights violations in Iran against its own people by the regime, that's a big concern of ours. The world can't sit idle while people are in danger of living in the country and in the land in which they were born. And we all know that there are so many Iranian Canadians that would love to go back and visit their homeland, visit their families, visit their paternal home, if you will, and can't for fear that they're going to be imprisoned when they arrive there. That's a big concern of ours. Iran's support of the regime's support of terrorist groups openly, that's a big concern. We want to shut down the terrorist groups. We want everybody to live in peace and harmony, much like we live here in Canada. In Greater Toronto area alone, 156 different dialects are spoken on every day. Every day. Everybody lives in peace and harmony, irrespective of their language, their culture, their religion. They live and we respect each other. And, of course, Iran's blatant violation of the Vienna Convention, where we could not ascertain the security of our diplomats in Tehran.
Okay. Let me
Sure. Sorry, that's a lot.
It's okay. ازشون سوال کردم نظرشون